Hi everyone, it's Matt here with another video. Today we're going to talk about Jinx, the loose cannon. Jinx is played as an attack damage carry. This means that she mostly builds only one defensive item if needed, and goes full damage in her other 5 item slots. This also means that she heavily relies on positioning to stay alive. Her kit is perfect for this role in my opinion, and I'm going to explain why in the ability section of this video. She also has a fun in-game minigame when playing against a Vi or a Caitlyn, which is always fun. Something that is also fun about Jinx is that all of the names of her abilities end with an exclamation mark. This shows that the champion is really exciting and fun to play. Let's go a bit more in depth on her abilities. Her passive is called Get Excited. Whenever a champion or tower is destroyed that Jinx has dealt damage to within the last 3 seconds, she gains an insane movement speed boost of 175% that decays over 4 seconds. This passive makes her super unique to play because you can stay longer in certain situations and still get away because of this massive movement speed boost. Her first ability is a toggle ability called Switcheroo. This skill lets Jinx switch between her minigun Pow Pow and her rocket launcher Fishbones. When Jinx is using her minigun, she gets bonus attack speed for 2.5 seconds. This effect can stack up to 3 times and it will only decay 1 stack at a time when she stops attacking with the minigun. This attack speed boost is amazing in combination with her passive because she can just sneak a turret and run away with an insane amount of movement speed. When she is using the rocket launcher, she gains bonus attack range and deals 10% attack damage as bonus damage on her attacks. Her attacks will also splash, dealing full damage to all enemies in her radius area. This bonus damage from her target and the splash damage both scale additively with critical strikes. This rocket launcher is extremely effective when the enemies are all grouped up in one spot. Firing this rocket launcher costs mana per shot, so try to avoid spamming your rockets too much because this will drain your mana very quickly. When this ability is maxed, Jinx will have an attack range of 700 when using the rocket launcher. This is the 4th highest attack range in the game, just below Tristana with 703 attack range at level 18. Her second ability is called Zap. This ability is a skill shot that fires after a short delay when activated. This ability will deal physical damage and slows the enemy that was hit. This ability also grants vision over that enemy. This ability is rather hard to hit because it has a small hitbox and also fires after a short delay like mentioned before. This spell is really nice for chasing an enemy because of the slow and the fact that it grants vision over that target. This ability is also amazing for sniping low health enemies because of the long range and the high scaling with attack damage. Her third ability is called Flame Chompers. When activated, Jinx will throw 3 chompers that will be armed after a short delay. These chompers will explode on contact with enemy champions, dealing magic damage over 1.5 seconds. The champion that sets off the chomper will also be rooted for 1.5 seconds. Chompers that weren't set off by enemy champions will explode after 5 seconds. Keep in mind that a single champion can only set off a single chomper, but he can be damaged by any number if they remain in range. This ability is Jinx's only form of safety in teamfights, but this can also be used to lock down enemies for some follow-up crowd control. These flame chompers are really hard to hit because they have a short delay before they get armed. This gives the enemy a short time to react. Her last ability is her ultimate ability called Super Mega Death Rocket. Jinx fires a rocket that travels in a line, exploding on the first enemy champion it hits, dealing physical damage plus a percentage of their missing health. Additional enemies that are caught in the explosion take 80% of the damage dealt to the first target as physical damage. The damage increases over the first second the rocket travels. This ability is mostly used as an execute because the damage increases based on the health the target is missing. This doesn't mean that you can't use it in a team fight because it's better to use it when the enemy team is grouped up than to wait for the fight to be over and try to hit one player that is really low on health. The skill order I max my skill in goes as followed. I take a point in my Switcheroo at level 1, because this will let me switch between my minigun and rocket launcher. This will give me both the advantages of both the weapons at level 1. My second point goes into my Zap ability. This ability is really nice to poke your opponent. I don't spend my first point in Zap because I mainly use this skill to poke or snipe my opponents, and poking with fishbones is more reliable, plus the chance that you will need a snipe ability at level 1 is really low. My third point goes into Flame Chompers. This ability is mostly used to lock down a laning opponent when I'm winning my lane, or to stop them from going all in when I'm losing my lane. Either way, I think it's a smart choice to get all of your abilities as fast as possible on Jinx. The next points will depend on how you want to play Jinx. You can play Jinx either as an early game caster AD carry, or you can go for that early crit chance and play her as an auto attack beast. If you want to play her as an AD caster in the early game, then you'll max your Zap ability first, because it scales extremely hard with attack damage. After you have maxed your Zap, you want to max your switcheroo for obvious reasons. Then last, you max your Flame Chompers. You will be maxing your Flame Chompers last in both skill orders, just because it doesn't give you anything more than a snare. The pros of playing her as an AD caster are that your Zap will hurt insanely hard when it hits an enemy champion early in the game, and your Super Mega Death Rocket will also blow up the enemy health bars. The main problem of playing her like this is that her Zap and Super Mega Death Rocket are both skill shots that are hard to hit. This means that your damage can miss. If you play Jinx as an auto attack beast, then you'll want to max your switcheroo first, because this will increase your attack speed when using the minigun, and it will increase your auto attack damage and auto attack range when using the rocket launcher. Second, you want to max your Zap ability, because this ability scales insanely hard with attack damage. And last, you want to max your Flame Chompers for the same reason as mentioned before. The pros of playing her this way are that you will start to feel the power when you get your Infinity Edge, and you'll have insane attack range early on because you max your switcheroo first. The only problem is that it takes a while before you get your Infinity Edge, but the attack speed boost from your minigun will make up for it. Of course, you take a point in your ultimate ability whenever you can in both situations. Now let's talk item builds. The order you build your items in will change depending on what kind of Jinx you want to play, but you'll probably still end up with the same items in the end if you can finish your build. The starting items are going to stay the same, being a Dorn's Blade, a health potion and a warding totem trinket. If you play the early AD caster Jinx, then your first item is going to be the Bloodthirster. This item gives the most AD in the game if you can farm with it, so it's kind of a no-brainer. Your second item is going to be the Last Whisper. Last Whisper in combination with the Bloodthirster gives your Zap and Super Mega Death Rocket a massive boost of damage. After that, you'll want to build your Phantom Dancer and Infinity Edge to do more damage in the late game. As a last item, I would say you build the Guardian Angel, because not building at least one defensive item is really dangerous and it's usually not worth it. If you play the auto attack beast Jinx, then your first item is going to be an Infinity Edge. This will give you insane damage on your auto attacks because you also have 25% crit chance and increased crit damage. This combined with the attack speed boost from your minigun will make you shoot out those crits very early on. Don't forget to build a Vampiric Scepter if you need more sustain in lane. Your second item is going to be a Phantom Dancer. This item synergizes extremely well with Infinity Edge and also with Jinx in general. It gives extra attack speed and crit chance, and even the ignores unit collision passive is really useful because she needs to reposition very often as an AD carry. This will melt down the enemy health bars like butter in a microwave. After this, you'll want to go either for Last Whisper or Bloodthirster, depending on what your opponents are building. If they are starting to build armor, go for Last Whisper as a third item, otherwise go for the Bloodthirster. Your fourth item is going to be the Last Whisper or the Bloodthirster, depending on what you chose to be your third item. Your last item is going to be a Guardian Angel again, just because you need a defensive item as an AD carry. Situational items are Static Shift, Zephyr, Black Cleaver, Banshee's Veil, Mercurial Scimitar, Maw of Mortius, Frozen Mallet and Runaan's Hurricane. Static Shift is a good item when you need extra wave clear. The passive combined with the splash damage from Fishbones will clear waves of minions and jungle camps extremely fast. Zephyr is an item that is extremely strong when the enemy team has a lot of crowd control. The extra tenacity will surely help you survive. You should consider building a black cleaver if you aren't the only AD damager in your team. Your basic attacks reduce the armor of the target that you are hitting, so other people will also benefit from it. Keep in mind that multiple people with black cleavers will not make them stack. Banshee's Veil is an amazing item when the enemy has hard-hitting poke abilities or hard initiation abilities like Nidalee's Javelin Toss or Leona's Solar Flare. Mercurial Scimitar is a great choice when facing champions like Zed or Malzahar, because you can use the active of this item to stop their ultimate abilities. In other words, their ultimate abilities are useless on you when you have this item. This item is also very useful when facing teams with crowd control, because you can choose when you remove it. Maw of Malmortius is an item that you should pick up if there is an enemy with a lot of AP burst damage in the enemy team. Frozen Mallet is a defensive item with an offensive twist. Frozen Mallet is a great item when you don't really need a defensive item, because it's an item that will greatly increase your chasing and kiting potential with the passive slow. Runaan's Hurricane is an item that I would only recommend when you can assure that enemies will stay close to each other with something like an Orianna and Jarvan ult combo. This item will duplicate the splash effect of your rockets when using the rocket launcher, though I don't recommend this item because you will have to sacrifice an item slot, but it can be good in some situations. The runes I use when playing Jinx are standard AD carry runes. I use 9 attack damage marks, 9 armor seals, 9 magic resist glyphs and 2 lifesteal and 1 attack damage quintessences. This will give you 11 attack damage, 13 armor, 12 magic resist and 4% bonus lifesteal. These runes will give you armor to survive against the enemy AD carry, magic resist to survive the poke from the support and also from the AD carry if they have a Corki or an Ezreal, and lifesteal to sustain in the laning phase. The masteries I use are 2190 masteries. These are the new masteries, so I'll explain why I don't pick certain masteries as well as why I do pick certain masteries. In the offense masteries, I go for bonus attack speed, bonus attack damage per level, flat bonus attack damage, percentage bonus attack damage, increased damage to champions below 50% HP, percentage armor and magic penetration, increased attack speed after crit, dangerous game and increased damage overall. Now I'm going to explain things that might be weird or things that other people might have done differently. First, I take a point in a double-edged sword. This will give you 1.5% increased damage, but you'll receive 1.5% increased damage as well. I would not suggest getting this point in your mastery tree if you aren't that good at positioning and avoiding damage. If you don't know if you should get this point, then you should just say YOLO and play a couple of games where you use this mastery. If you die a lot in these games, then you should put this point in something else, like the increased damage to minions and monsters, or the increased cooldown reduction depending on what you need. Something that some people may find odd in this mastery tree is that I go for the mastery dangerous game. I choose this mastery because you'll get the last hit on enemy champions a lot because you are the AD carry. This can be a great mastery in other different situations as well. You could also go for the cooldown reduction instead of the attack speed when you're going to play the early AD caster Jinx instead of the auto attack beast Jinx. In the defensive masteries I go for reduced basic attack damage, reduced incoming damage, health regeneration, flat health and increased maximum health. I go for health regeneration instead of the increased bonus armor and magic resist because you won't be building a lot of armor and magic resist as an AD carry. It gives you 5% increased armor and magic resist, so this means that you get 5 extra armor and magic resist for every 100 armor and magic resist you have. So basically this mastery will give you somewhere around 5 armor and magic resist laid into an average game. The extra health regeneration will be much more useful in my opinion. I don't take any points in utility, but you could spend 3 points in the increased mana regeneration if you think you don't have enough. If you want to do this, you should take 3 points out of the defense tree. I recommend getting them from the increased maximum health, the reduced incoming damage and 1 point out of the flat health. The last part of this video are the tips and the tricks when playing Jinx. The first tip, try to get as many stacks of bonus attack speed with your minigun before switching to your rocket launcher. Switching to your rocket launcher won't clear the stacks, so you will have the advantage of both weapons at the same time for a short period, but they will not get refreshed anymore because you are using the rocket launcher instead of your minigun. Second tip is to use your rocket launcher to poke in lane. This is even more effective when you have already spent some points in the skill, because the range increases depending on the skill's level. The third tip, use your minigun when fighting only one target at a time. For example, use your minigun when dueling someone, or when you need to take objectives. Fourth tip, don't be afraid to stay a bit longer when you are pushing down a tower, because you will get an insane speed boost from your passive when you destroy it. Be sure you are able to kill it though, because otherwise you just kill yourself. Now for the first trick. Try to use your flame chompers to turn on an enemy. If you spot teammates coming towards you when you are getting chased by an enemy, just throw your flame chompers a bit behind the enemy. He will most likely try to dodge it by running back, but he'll be running right into your flame chompers. Or if he doesn't get snared, you will have to find a different path to avoid them. Trick number 2. Use your flame chompers to cut off enemies in teamfights. For example, you are fighting in the jungle and your opponents are coming from 2 directions. Just throw your flame chompers in one of the jungle paths that they are trying to use, and they'll need to walk all the way around to join their teammates in a fight if they don't have some kind of dash or flash ability. Trick number 3. Try to hit your zap before firing Super Mega Death Rocket if possible. This will ensure that you hit your enemy, and will even increase the damage of your Super Mega Death Rocket because you just lowered the HP of that enemy even more. This is it guys, I hope you all enjoyed my Jinx guide. Be sure to like, subscribe and share with your friends. Also don't forget to leave your suggestions in the comment box below. You can also follow me on Facebook and Anouk by using the links in the description, and I'll see you all later.